Nick's development was a lot better in the second half of the Power Rangers Mystic Force debut, Broken Spell. It makes me wonder, rewatching, if his development might have been underrated. Nick and Madison is actually teased, something I vaguely remember, but is actually good to see set up for later episodes. There's discussion of Nick's grandparents being in Briarwood. Madison asks if he has no parents, and then Nick gives lineage to his whole family. The backstory is interesting and pays off by the end of the show, albeit I'm unsure if... Spoiler alert. It makes sense given how some of his parents are magical but others aren't. Basically becomes Gal in the end and becomes a family man. Happy ending. Would have been better teased in the first episode, which hurts the first episode since it wasn't covered. As the two-part devote, it works really well, adding a bit of mystery, which is a bit lost rewatching the series, unfortunately. And then the second episode or half gives hints, even more hints than the first episode, as to Nick's character. The Nick not doing the magic thing, however, is forced. I get that's a rejection of the call phase of the hero's journey, but the establishment of the character is poor for us to care about what he does. Then again, this is a Super Sentai adaptation, or Power Rangers, which is significantly about tropes and pop culture references to begin with, and does that. Nick's wanting to save the old man and his brother sort of isn't done well. He wants to help people then, but he doesn't want to help people later. And instead of seeming like a tough guy, he just seems like inconsistent and poorly written. There's also a bit of a plot hole that Udano won't help Claire, previously mentioned. Claire was also wondered why Nick wasn't chosen to be a ranger, which sort of doesn't make sense. I don't really see Udana's setup. The end was really good for Nick in addition. Nick not wanting to conform could have been a really deeper theme, but instead, it's a kid show, so just didn't want to work at the store. Teen, angsty guy, not do menial work, do stuff he likes. It's an 80s action hero type trope, and it works well. He doesn't say anything offensive either, which could have really hurt his character and his likability, and just be incredible as a character for audiences to enjoy. But he's not whitewashed either, like the first two series of Neo Saban. He's also a Jimi Hendrix fan, a really cool reference in a Power Rangers show that's pretty underrated actually. And to go into the Xenotome a little bit, and how that their wand Mystic Morphers have to unlock spells for good deeds. I don't know if this is really executed later on in the series, like it does in Mandaranger, but it was a good adaptation of that. Although it might have had plot holes with the Mystic Force within itself, Mythos. Clarence Stickleberries being a plot point doesn't really add anywhere because we really don't know what Stickleberries do in this show, and just seems mumbo jumbo for no reason. Like Cloud's Buster Sword, Link's Hookshot does have purpose and utility. What's Stickleberries for, even with Power Rangers and Power Axe? Also, even Madison wanting to do magic seems to be an adaptation of the Ulala character in Mandaranger, because I'm not sure if she's like a big sister. I think she might even be the little sister of Vita, I'm not sure. And she's not really a big... You See what I mean? Sort of a waste. She's not really a big studying magician type like she is in Magic Ranger, or for the rest of the Mystic Force even, so it's sort of out of place too. Nick Lorelei is finally introduced to the Rangers, or at the 733 mark. I'm not sure if they didn't actually meet before, but it seemed like it based on what they showed in the episode, and they did that pretty well. Again, more strengths than weaknesses, more positives than negatives. They really add on to the mythos of the show in this episode, and I think they should be praised for it. After Claire encounters the Hydro Worm, the baddies discuss the 5 Mystic Warriors who gave the Mystic Force their powers, adding to the mythos. This could be a reference, a spiritual successor reference to the Magic Ranger and their predecessors. But it just seems to add to the mythos if you've never seen Magic Ranger before. Something I didn't notice till 10 years later. Mordecai really seems like a big bad, even with his not really good camera angle shots. He discusses the Hydro Worm, adding a bit about how HW digs a hole that dug into the enemy base, the villain base, from the villain's base of the season. This is an original in which whoever made up that material is the original source of this footage. However, it wasn't in Japan's Magic Ranger, and it really adds to the cred of the Mystic Force writing team for basically putting their brand over Super Sentai's, making the adaptation seem more original and well written than the original. Well done, Disney crew. Not knowing what happens in Magic Ranger, one may think that the Hydro Worm really will destroy Briar with this episode, not knowing what will happen next, even if it is a Power Rangers show where the baddies don't always win in the end. Good use of suspense and credibility to the show. In the beginning, prior to the scene, in addition to Claire getting materials and encountering the Goblin, who we'll later find out is someone, I don't want to spoil that yet. Anyway, Nick calls Vita Pinky, adding to Vita's character, adding to Nick's character of being a badass. The Mystic Rangers race add to the appeal of the show by seeming really cool and seeming like they're fun, young youth. It also adds to the plot that they have broomsticks, adding to the mythos of the world. Mythos is really well done in this episode. Better, I debate it's even a better pilot than the episode 1. And them needing an origin wasn't needed. It could have been done in a prequel-ish series like they did in Samurai. But done a little bit better, obviously. A lot better even. I'm so emotional with my voice. Very emotional. Anyway. Vito wants to learn more powers. Chip is enthusiastic about the Mystic Force powers of his cape, superheroes, vehicles, and weapons, fully adding to his comic book character. The actor who plays Chip does a really good job adding character. I really liked. I'm going to have that to discuss all about Chip. He deserves his own thing, and I think his actor really adds to it. Add more to that later. Madison asks her character, agreeing with Udana and Claire to do incantations. And to go into the Xenotome a little bit and how that their wand Mystic Morphers have to unlock spells for good deeds. I don't know if this is really executed later on in the series like it does in Magic Ranger, but it was a good adaptation of that. Although it might have had plot holes with the Mystic Force within itself mythos. Clarence Stickleberries being a plot point doesn't really add anywhere because we really don't know what Stickleberries do in this show, and just seems mumbo jumbo for no reason. Like Cloud's Buster Sword, Link's hookshot does have purpose and utility. What's Stickleberries for, even with Power Rangers and Power Axe? Also, even Madison wanting to do magic seems to be an adaptation of the Ulala character in Magic Ranger, because I'm not sure if she's like a big sister. I think she might even be the little sister of Vita, I'm not sure. And she's not really a big... You see what I mean? Sort of a waste. She's not really a big studying magician type like she is in Magic Ranger, or for the rest of the Mystic Force even, so it's sort of out of place too. Nick Lorelei is finally introduced to the Rangers, or at the 733 mark. I'm not sure if they didn't actually meet before, but it seemed like it based on what they showed in the episode, and they did that pretty well. Again, more strengths than weaknesses, more positives than negatives. They really add on to the mythos of the show in this episode, and I think they should be praised for it. Power Rangers Mystic Force, Episode 6, Legendary Catastros, is a pretty good episode. In the beginning of the episode, they go for the legend of Catastros, even though how they explain it makes it seem like he's completely different from Korag's horse for some odd reason. Claire does some hijinks, mixing up her spells, and apparently Claire is allergic to whipped cream, and they laugh at her, and do I sound like I'm very excited about this? They throw whipped cream at Peter Rooter! What is that? Anyway, they fight Korag afterwards. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention how there's this Nick not being afraid of anything thing. It's interesting and should have been part of his character, but didn't really seem that way. They could have made references to how like he saved the old man of the woods and stuff, etc., but they didn't really do that. During the fight with Korag, Nick gets sent to another dimension, trying to fight Korag, and prior to that, Korag is betrayed by his allies. It doesn't really make any sense if you didn't watch the Magic Ranger footage, and it really shows. Chip talks to Phineas, trying to figure out where Nick is. They get a pep talk from him, and then Phineas acts like a perv and says, "Girls, I like that." Whatever. Catastrophe escapes with Nick, and it's very well done and well crafted. Catastrophe was made scary and done very well, but the emotional connection and struggle for Magic Ranger is gone since they used the folklore tale instead of the fact that he was an enemy who destroyed one of their own. The monster at the end is revealed to have the Titanus power Korag stole. There's a plot for the Rangers trying to get Nick back from the surface world. This really should have added up to a stakes spot against the Rangers, but it didn't really feel that way. This is a doable adaptation if you don't compare, and it's fine. The craftsmanship of making Catastrophe scary was interesting, and I think that's what Neo Saban creators should look at when creating an episode. Disney's Power Rangers Mystic Force Dark Wish Part 3. I'm going to go over this episode just because it's really short to review and just because it does a lot of stuff right and I don't have a lot to complain about. This was a good resolution episode. They teased Korag and Nick, which should have been done before, but it's cool because of Magic Ranger and it's been cool here. The Oblivion and the Beasts are destroyed. The birthday wish from Toby was a nice trick, sort of led it up to, but not quite. But it showed some cleverness, and I understood it. Mystic Force episode something. It depends on what you consider Dark Wish. Heir Apparent Part 1. Imperius meets with Korag. Imperius contemplates manipulating Korag versus opposing him and have Korag side with the Master against him. Daggeron and Nick duel. Regrettably fell short since Daggeron mainly dueled with Chip. Also, Nick was severely underdeveloped despite being the main focus.
They go over the story. Claire's mother died. Liam Boe was gone. Too bad they didn't keep the original actor. He looked impressive. I was wrong. It was him, actually. I made the mistake. Good resolution for that. A dark secret would have made that over the top, too. The resolution, of course, I'm talking about Liam Boe is Korag. I would have liked if Claire had taken over her mother's role later in the series and would have been more serious, but what can you do, it's Disney. I like how they made the Chimera a basic zombie fusion monster. A Black Lantern fusion monster, even. The Rangers are captured in the end, and everything seems lost until the big reveal at the end. Really well done. I praise everything and take away everything bad I have to say about this. It was really well done after not having watched Mad Ranger for a few years and not remembering all that stuff. Really touching. Good job, Bruce Kalish and everyone involved. Congratulations. And on to part 2. Power Rangers Mystic Force Episode 2. Not Episode 2. Heir Apparent Episode 2. Really well done resolution. I take back everything bad I had to say about this. This was probably one of the best resolutions I've ever seen since Power Rangers SPD with some of the Sky resolutions. It had to do with even that father-son resolution thing, like with Sky Tate and his dad. The beginning has the Rangers, especially Nick, which is very important later on, contemplating how could they trust this guy after they fought him for such a long time. Then Imperius and his troops try and take him out. Dagron helps out with the power of Brightstar, the new unicorn, Mystic Force Ranger Zord. Dagron protects them with his powers. A little bit low tech, but whatever. This is a story that counts. They split up. The Rangers fight the Chimera while Korag fights. And Imperius fights Dagron in a close stance fight. Good guys win. Oh, Nick fights Korag in the end, actually, because he got repossessed. And that's really touching because, like, all of a sudden there's a resolution, like, with him fighting Korag, and it later resolves and ends the plot about him being the mysterious child, because he's a mysterious character in the episode series even. And, you know, I started a bit, but I guess it's better because, like, it's better you watch it and find out than I tell you what happened. It was well done. That was well done. And then in the end, Udana and Nick have a moment where they wonder what is the life after all those years missing. Nick, he was a bit over the top rejecting things, but I do like how in the end he reveals that he is a kind person like Udana, and that they do hope that Korag or Liam Boe come back. Not necessarily because of a father-son or husband-wife thing, but just because he was a good guy, and it was good to have the world being saved and stuff, which is pretty cool. Power Rangers Mystic Force Episode 25, The Hunter, Praises and Lows. Nick gets a surprise, sort of thematic considering what's in store with him for the rest of the episode. Xander does this bad supervising. I got a legit laugh out of that. His actor did a good job. Vina says Toby's eyes twitches. I heard her only eye twitches on Twitch. Good job making that seem very unpleasant. And somewhat humorous. Also, it's sort of a weird thing having Toby being inconsistent regarding whether the Rockporian workers are good or bad. Not to mention, should Nick win that award and not Xander or someone else? It's all Xander's character is, but that's part of the joke, I guess. Maddie gets some nice moments. Although a bit lukewarm, she gets to save Nick's life. She has a moment to reflect their journey in the Rockporium during this scene too. No actual touching, though. Disney powers. Nick wants to stay in Briarwood. It'd be cool if he mentioned their journey together to be friends, to add a little bit more stakes to the episode. Not to mention going back to Root Core later. I guess he does a little bit, but you know what I mean. Maybe you don't, but I sort of get what I mean. Lily sort of feels left out. It would be cool if her and Claire became friends at the end of the series. Speaking of which, Claire mentions how Udana should depend on her, since she used to become a better sorceress. Or she actually has powers. Claire has a bit of an Amy Adams thing going on her, asking whether she should turn Udana into a newt or not. A good moment for the two. Onto the good versus evil themes of Power Rangers Mystic Force Episode 25, The Hunter. Mega Horn's a little weird. I understand that he's trying to sound like Cobra Commander or the Claw from Inspector Gadget, but sometimes he sounds a little bit inappropriate and it's weird. But I think that there was no racist intention behind that, and I think they were just trying to make a cartoony voice, so it's okay. I can go into an article about that, but we'll see how the reaction is. The animation for Aculus's fights, although not as dark as Magic Ranger, are still a little bit scary to see Mystic Force Rangers' bodies forced and laid down disappear. Although I praise this light storyline more, the battle line still feels a little bit forced, or maybe just not done well. He could have meditated or something before getting the power. There's also a bit too much fighting, not enough story. Itasis wants to fight Mega Horn over fighting Daggeron. The US Mega Horn sort of looks awesome with that extra green compared to the Japanese suit. Adaptation decay. Phineas has a good moment with Nick. Would have been cool to see a moment with him at the end of the series, episode, whichever. As much as I don't like Lily Vo, her moment at the end of the episode was pretty good, and she proved that she belonged in Rockporium. What are your thoughts on the episode? Comment below. The 10 Terrors in the Return. They're not really the 10 Terrors, since there's not really 10 of them anymore, but whatever. It sounds cool. The voice actors set up that the Master is the hands of the 10 Terrors after Korag was defeated. Matumbo's storyline about not wanting to harm others is really boring and fell since Korag already has that code. I don't get why he plays with a ball and he hits himself with it. Xander doesn't at all think that Vita isn't fighting Matumbo without figuring out, whatever. Like, she's not fighting him, there must be a reason. A line like, did he take your powers or something would be nice. Matumbo destroying the electricity to summon the Master could be a ruse also. Also, the 10 Terrors don't use this Xander Matumbo conflict against the protagonists. Gecko goes after Matumbo, winning him. Vita out of character takes the Solaris Knight to save Matumbo. I guess they need to summon the Master anyway, so they don't defeat Matumbo. Then again, this is the end of the episode. Despite being old, they are not aware of Matumbo not wanting to defeat people. It seems very forced and not well thought out. Matumbo doesn't really have an arc. He just wants to not be a bad guy for no reason. With sort of like the lack of reason that Jack wants to be leaving SPD at the end of last season. Like, you figured this would have occurred millions of years before. Also, they could have just made Matumbo another Korag. It is pretty sad, however, when Matumbo dies, and the other time when he tries to protect himself, protect Xander, and of course that's the whole factor that he's trying to save humanity, which is pretty cool. As odd as Xander's character was, even Itasis makes fun of it, by the way. It was cool for him to have this moment where he can actually act this episode. Good job, Richard Brenda Cisco. I don't know how to say that name, but you know what I mean. Cool job, Xander. On to the rest of the episode.